sticker. I want you to speak English, it says.
I love it. I mean, even over here to the right, we have Reverend Dwayne Wilde, and he actually teaches early American history, something a lot of people have forgotten.
Is that still they still allowed to teach American history?
He probably had to write his own book. They don't print that in our classrooms anymore.
So just so I get this straight, there's going to be the chapters on transgender and lesbianism and homosexuality going to be longer than anything on Abraham Lincoln.
No, this is the opposite book. This actually teaches true American history, how it was created, how our country was founded, and how we're going to take it back again.
Excellent, excellent.
Those who forget their past are destined to repeat it.
Very true.
So, now, for our next guest speaker, years ago, my grandfather worked for Ronald Reagan. An amazing man, an amazing hero. I was very young and wasn't really in politics then. But I always had the passion to do it, and I wanted to be out there and engaged. And then I was down in Southern California working on some campaigns, and I met a man that I would actually consider my generation's next Ronald Reagan. He's an honest-spoken, truthful man that is a Constitution-carrying conservative. He is a former Lieutenant Colonel, retired U.S. Army, former California State Assemblyman, and should have been our next United States Senator from California. My good friend, I think we'll let him in if he can show me, because I feel like Glenn Beck here. I feel like I'm in Reagan Library. Are you carrying the Constitution? Oh, there is a copy of the Constitution. My friend Chuck Devore.
Give it up to Mrs. Devore.
It's not very long, if only people would actually follow it. Well, Sacramento, good afternoon. Members of the Tea Party, patriots, do you think our work is done? I didn't think so. Let me ask those of you who serve our great republic in the uniform of the United States military, please stand up and make yourself recognized. Wave. Thank you for your service to our great nation. Let me tell you a little bit about that service. In every nation that has existed up to the point of the founding of our republic, people served king and country, queen, prince or princess. They served for land or for their ethnic group. But for the very first time in the history of mankind, people who served under the banner of these United States served an even greater cause. And that is the cause of liberty, human liberty, as enunciated in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence and as guaranteed in our United States Constitution. That is what makes us unique as a nation, and dare I say, that is what makes us exceptional. You may remember our Commander-in-Chief talking about American exceptionalism, and he was asked the question, is America exceptional? Do you think America is an exceptional nation? Do you believe in American exceptionalism? And he says, well, I believe in American exceptionalism in the same way that a Greek would likely agree with Greek exceptionalism. I strongly disagree with that sentiment, because we are different as a nation because of why we were founded. And let me ask you a question. If the purpose of government is to secure our liberties, what does it say about our government securing our liberties when it spends so many trillions of dollars that it obligates generations as yet born to pay for the interest and principal on those trillions of dollars borrowed? Is that fulfilling the mission of liberty? Just today, a debt rating agency came out with a report, with a recommendation that said that America's debt is growing close to being unsustainable, and we may have to downgrade the sovereign debt of the United States. The stock market immediately plummeted. Ladies and gentlemen, our elected representatives are playing with fire. Now, I think you understand that. That's why you're here today. That's why you've been to other rallies. That's why many of you, for the first times in your lives, became active in politics. Something that you were content to perhaps not be active in. You know, an ancient Greek philosopher once said, "You may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you." And so you figured that out, and you've come out today, and you've gotten active. And because of your brothers and sisters around the country, some remarkable things have happened. There's a new Speaker of the House. The Senate is somewhat less in control of the other party. And I believe that the President is a bit on the defensive now. But you have a lot more work yet to do. You have a lot more work yet to do because the job isn't done yet, and the job won't be done simply based on which party occupies the White House or which party controls the speakership in the House or the majority leader in the Senate. Because we have seen big spending and expansion of government under both parties, haven't we? Now, the job will be done when the politicians, when your elected representatives, begin to fear and respect you more than they fear and respect the special interests that often call the shots. And that's why your work isn't done. Now, here in California, we have a double dose of that work, don't we? It seems that that Tea Party wave that swept the nation kind of washed up on the eastern shore of the High Sierra and didn't get much further, did it? And I have my thoughts as to why that happened. One of the big thoughts being the name of our former governor, dare I speak his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe that when you have a leader of a party who has no discernible philosophy, then it leads to a certain cynicism among the voting public. People aren't quite sure what the governor stood for or the party that he reportedly came from. And as a result, when the voters are faced with the choice between the real thing and Democrat light, they go for the real thing. And so as a result, we Californians, the state that kind of started the trend nationally for recycling, we ended up recycling a politician into office. Jerry Brown came back. Now, as a result, we got a lot of work to do in this state, and as you know, the people in the building behind me have been struggling for months over the issue of whether to extend the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the state level for an extra 5 years. This tax increase would amount to some $60 billion. It would make your car tax higher. It would make your income tax higher. It would make your sales tax higher. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think California can afford higher taxes for 6 more years. And yet, what do you hear in the building behind me? Do you hear talks of legitimate reform? You hear very little of that. What you hear is that it will be fiscal Armageddon if we don't raise taxes. Remember what happened in May of 2009 when we had a ballot initiative that would have extended the largest tax increase in U.S. history for an extra 2 years? Remember what happened? It lost in all of California's 58 counties. Almost won in San Francisco County, but it lost even there too. Do you think the people of the state of California believe that we have enough money for our government and that we need to set priorities? We need to get our act together and decide whether or not we want more jobs or more people on welfare? Do you know that this state, with 1/8 of the nation's population, has 1/3 of its welfare caseload? Do you know that just a few weeks ago, a stat came out that was quite remarkable, that some 40 45% of the births in this state are paid for by Medi-Cal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not sustainable. We need some radical surgery in our state government. And it's the type of surgery that unfortunately the people there now don't want to do. You need to encourage them to do it. Now we've got some very interesting things coming up in the next few months. We have redistricting, which should create some more competitive seats that you can influence. We're going to have elections that are very pivotal for this state and may determine whether this state sinks or swims, and you need to get engaged. I encourage all of you to visit the booths here to learn about the organizations that are represented and ask them how you can get involved. And then get your friends and neighbors involved. Because it's only by getting engaged and involved that you can take on the vested interests that, believe you me, are well represented in the building behind me. Now, to that end, there's a new initiative that is being circulated. This initiative is an initiative that I think you should all get involved in. It's an initiative that says that if you're a corporation or you're a union, that the money that you spend on politics should be approved by the people who are your shareholders and are your union members. This measure, they're working to qualify for the June ballot next year. You need to get involved in circulating the petitions for this measure, and when it qualifies, you need to get engaged in helping it win. Because, mark my words, the California Teachers Association and the other government unions are going to spend tens of millions of dollars to block this initiative from passing, even though it also impacts corporations. This measure, this initiative may very well be our last best hope at turning around the state of California. And you need to get involved in it. You need to get engaged. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not at all pessimistic, even though I'm here on the left coast, even though I'm in California, even though the Tea Party wave seemed to have fell short at our eastern border. I'm not at all discouraged, because I believe that the spirit of liberty and freedom still lives strong in the state of California. And I believe in simple economics. I think that eventually the problem with socialism is that you run out of other people's money. And that eventually the people, even in the building behind me, are going to have to realize that government doesn't create jobs. Government doesn't create jobs. All government can do is borrow money and tax money and put people to work temporarily. True, sustained prosperity happens when people deliver goods and services that other people want to buy. It's called a free market system. It's called capitalism. Try it. It's not going to hurt you. One observation. How many of you followed what's been happening in the state of Wisconsin? I have been very impressed by Governor Scott Walker in Wisconsin. I certainly wish we had him out here. What's interesting about Wisconsin is it was the very first state to enact collective bargaining for its public sector employees. And as we may recall, those of you who know your history, Jerry Brown was the governor that converted our employees from civil servants to government union employees. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that everyone who works for government full-time should be able to raise a family on his income. But I don't believe that our government employees should continue, new hires, should continue to have defined benefit pensions. Did you know that the state of California is now staring at perhaps in excess of a $600 billion unfunded liability for its government pensions? Is that fair to either the taxpayers or the government workers, that we've made promises that we can't keep? I don't believe it's fair. And I believe it's unsustainable, and we have to fix it. And you're the folks who are going to make that happen, aren't you? Aren't you? Yes, you are. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that the great mission that we are engaged in is human liberty. Don't forget that. And when people call you hateful things, when people say that you somehow mean ill to people because you're not willing to put your grandchildren in debt to finance another government scheme, another giveaway, just remind them that America is special because of liberty and freedom. That we were not made special because of universal health care. We weren't made special because of what our welfare programs. America is a nation that you can come to as an immigrant. You can come to America without a penny legally. You can work hard and you can create a life for your family and for your children and for your grandchildren. The American dream is still alive. And I believe the California dream, while it's been a little bit on hiatus, I think it's going to come back if you make it your mind to bring it back. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to get out there and take on the vested interests and change the history of this great state? Let's get out there and make a difference. You've got elections to win. You've got candidates to recruit. You have politicians to hold accountable. Keep calling, keep writing, keep sending those emails. Let them know that you're out there. Let them know that you're watching. Let them know that you want a government that lives within its means. Let them know that you want a government that understands that it's liberty that it exists to protect, not the vested interests. And never, never, never give up on California. God bless you and God bless the state of California. Thank you so much for showing up today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Devore. And even though he's retired now, or they call it termed out, from the California State Assembly, he is currently a candidate for District 3 Orange County Supervisor. And he also writes a great blog you can keep up on by going to chuckdevore.com. He has his daily 3. He picks it.